necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by the Falcone Law Firm. If you need to speak to an attorney, call them at 631-607-4LAW. That's 631-607-4529. It's also being brought to you by the Marty Lyons Foundation, and that is the official charity of our show, Sports Bash Media. You could visit their website at martylyonsfoundation.org and look for their sponsored vendors, because if you use any of their sponsored vendors, a piece of that business goes back to a fantastic cause, the Marty Lyons Foundation. The show's also being brought to you by our good friends at Collaborate Studios. It is a content marketing production facility. And for more information, you could call them at 516-509-8277. Once again, good morning. I'm Vinny Tickets, and I'm being joined by Whiz Kid Vinny, who is filling in for Peter Schwartz today. Peter will be joining us on the show at some point in a few minutes. So to get started, good morning, Wiz.
Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
Doing great, buddy. The number to call if you want to talk, we have a lot to cover today. We have the Yankees, Mets, we have the NBA draft, we have a couple of trades, we have the Knicks, looks like not guaranteed just yet, but it looks like they may have a big signing for the original gangster, OG, right? Mm-hmm. That looks like it's in the works. Big contract. But right now, the number to call, if you want to talk about any of those subjects, the number to call is 631-451-1039. We could talk about the Subway Series. We could also talk about the NBA draft that we spoke about. And later in the show, we'll have our sports history. And it's time for the Sports Bash Flash. And that's being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner is located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. And when you mention Sports Bash, you'll get a free dessert from our good friend there, Gus at the diner. So let's get started with the Yankees Mets. That was as a Yankee fan, and my partner here, Wiz, today, you happen to be a Met fan, am I right?
That is correct.
And I think that's part of your lineage, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you, Jimmy, your grandfather Jimmy, was he Yankee, Met, or Dodger?
He was a Giants fan because of Willie Mays, and because he was not really thrilled with the Dodgers. He didn't really care for how they played, but he preferred the Giants, and he just sort of just wrote it out for a few years, and then the Mets happened.
Right. So last night in Queens, tough night for the Yankees. The Mets seem to be playing some really, really good baseball. Right now, the New York Mets have won 15 of their last 19 games. That's almost a 750 winning percentage. And there is a little correlation there. You want to take a guess what that correlation is? What they're saying, the myth of why that streak is happening right now.
Grimace. Everyone is wearing Grimace shirts. People are dressed up as Grimace. People are trashing beer cans on Grimace. They just love Grimace. In fact, actually outside Citi Field, there is a whole sign from McDonald's that says showing that Grimace is the reason why we're all doing good. Grimace is there for all of us, something like that. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So when you talk about the game last night, it looked like the ball was just traveling. And I'm not really sure if it was because of, that rain that was in the air. It was a very heavy air. There was a lot of humidity. Someone was talking, actually, I was listening earlier, did they spike the ball to make the Subway series more exciting? But when you talk about the game last night, you had two guys pitching on the mound. Obviously, Heel, has been a miracle for the Yankees right now. And his last couple of outings have been a little bit tough, right? But when you look at the game last night, the Mets, since they went to England, right, Now, the Mets have not been playing 500 ball since May. Since May, they haven't been a 500 team. Last night, and, as sports would have it, last night made them a 500 club. I think they're 39-39 now.
39-39, correct.
Right. So the Mets, it's so ironic that just 3 weeks ago, we were talking about, what are the Mets going to do at the trade deadline, right? Now we're talking about them being in the heat of being in a playoff spot, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, being a Met fan and me just being a fan of the game, what do you think has happened over the last 30 days?
I think they just started to click on all sides. The pitching's been pretty good. The hitting, the bats absolutely went alive last night. Even after the whole rain delay ended, it's like nothing even happened.
Did you see that rain?
Yeah.
I said there's, you know what? At that time of the game, I said, there's no way they're playing more baseball tonight. And sure enough, how long did the delay wind up being?
A few hours. It was a couple hours. I know that it wasn't like just a little bit of drizzle. It was like hosing you.
Yes.
Even on the side of it, even when you think that you shade, there's little holes with the grits, and it was like hosing everyone in the stands.
Yeah, it looked like it was going sideways. So did you see the crowd after the rain?
A little bit.
Yeah, you know what? When it actually started raining, they actually showed the outside of the stadium, and I was pretty shocked. There were a lot of people that were just leaving the stadium. They were just leaving, and they gave up. So there's a lot to cover with the Mets. We'll talk about a lot of that on the back end as well. We also had the NBA draft last night. The first overall pick was Zachary Ricochet. Did I say that right?
Yeah, he's French, so
he's French.
It could be a little hard. In fact, actually, he was taken by the Atlanta Hawks. The Washington Wizards took his fellow Frenchman who was playing in the NBL in Australia for the Perth Wildcats, Alex Sarr. And there was a lot of speculation who would go first. Would it be him or would it be Zach? And, when Zach first and then Sarr second.
Yeah, he is 6'9". He will bring a lot to the team. Do you happen to be a Hawks fan as well?
I follow the Falcons because of a lot of my friends in Atlanta. Even though I'm more of a Knicks fan, I do look at the Hawks here and there because a lot of my friends over there, they are a little disappointed because they really wanted Sarr because they saw Sarr as the best player in the draft. But if not, hopefully Zach will be pretty good. Sarr, I'm happy for the Wizards fans. Wizards haven't really had much to cheer about since Wall got injured. Granted, Westbrook had a good year and he took him to the playoffs, but it has not been great basketball over there in D.C. And also, don't forget Reed Shepherd, number 3 overall to the Houston Rockets. Really good 1-2-3 right out the gate there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the New York factions. I know at the back end of the show, we want to hit on Bronny a little bit, talk about him. There was some speculation that he might go in the first round. I think that was a little bit of a long shot. Obviously, he has tremendous genetics. It's not a coincidence when you see so many children or kids of professional athletes making it to the pros. Number one, they have the greatest coach, and then genetics play into it as well. Let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets. It looks like the Brooklyn Nets are setting up for their future. It looks like it's all about rebuilding. They did not have a pick last night in the first round, so really not a lot to talk about there. It looks like they're bringing some talent or sending some talent over to the Knicks, and it looks like it's all about the draft picks, future draft picks, future draft picks, future draft picks. And you have to look at that team and say, well, you know what? They do have a plan, and their plan is to build for the future. Let's hit the Knicks next. And do you know who the Knicks picked up?
Yeah, the Knicks picked up Pacome Dedier.
Great job on the pronunciation, by the way.
Thanks. I did a little bit of French when I was very, very little. Yeah, he's from France. He played in Germany, but technically they had 2 other picks. They had Keyshawn George, who was a pick that they had, but that went to the Wizards. And then Dylan Jones, who was technically another pick of theirs, that went to the Thunder. So focus on Dedier. It's a small forward. It's a nice bench piece. Let's see how they handle it. It's going to be Nova time in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and you have to remember that these teams, whether it be the Brooklyn Nets, who are looking to create a young, cohesive unit by taking all these draft picks, or the Knicks, when you talk about the Knicks, to create a cohesive unit in any sport is so important. And with all these Nova kids who have experience, they all come from the same training, right, at Nova. So we have a lot to discuss on the back end. We have to talk about some ticket giveaways coming tomorrow. We have to talk a little bit more about the NBA draft. We want to talk a little bit more about the Mets-Yankees. And during the break, we will be staying on live, streaming live, and talking to you about some of our sponsors. But we did get off to a great start today. And the New York Knicks looks like they have a bright future. OG looks like a $212 million. They're speaking about a $212 million contract. We'll discuss that after the break. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And we'll be, for our listeners that are streaming, we're going to stay here with you through the break, and we'll see you right after this.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bed.
You'll let me know when we go live. So we're bringing our listeners back and our watchers back that are streaming right now. And our good friend Sebastiano on the other side of the glass will let us know when we're getting back onto the radio. But for those people that are watching the stream, we do want to talk about one of our sponsors in particular, and that is the Embassy Diner. Anytime we have a meeting, we get together, we go down to the Embassy Diner. Our good friend Gus is always doing a great thing by us. I know Peter's family, I've sent a bunch of my workers there who I told them, I said, do not take advantage of the free dessert. I said, just go enjoy the lunch. And they come back with rave reviews from the Embassy Diner. And I got to say that from the beginning to the end, everything that we've ever had there has been fantastic. And we want to thank our good friend Gus over at the Embassy Diner for always taking care of us and always doing the right thing by us. As well, our friends over at Ralph's Italian Ices in Ronkonkoma, our good friends there. And in a few seconds right now, we're going to get back to the radio show. So with no further ado, in 3, 2, 1, we are back live on the air. And today at 4 p.m. Will be the round 2 of the NBA draft. And, there's a lot of talk about Bronny James. You did hear some murmuring about Bronny going in the first round. No chance of that happening, I don't think. Wiz, do you have an opinion on Bronny? And do you think at any time that he might be a first-round draft pick?
Well, I was thinking that maybe the Lakers could take him at 17 because if you turn on First Take or Undisputed or all these debate shows, all they would talk about is Bronny. They wouldn't talk about Ricochet. They wouldn't be talking about Starr. They wouldn't be talking about Shepard. They would just be a Bronny. You'd think he'd be the best player in the draft, but obviously, he's not. But at the same time, I am interested to see if he's drafted. If not, undrafted, even more of a better chance for why LeBron would want to stay there.
There you go. So we did open up our phone lines, and we're going to take a call from Mike from Babylon. Let's take a call from Mike from Babylon. Mike, are you there?
Any tickets? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Mike. How are you today, Mike?
Good. How's it going, Vinny Tickets? Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too. What do you want to discuss with us today, Mike?
Well, I was going to talk a little about the Mets and the Yankees and their reversal of fortune of late, but I just wanted to chime in since you were just talking about Bronny James and just add my 2 cents on that. I feel bad for this kid. If his name was Bronny Smith, no one would be talking about this guy. He's not ready for the NBA, and I think he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, given who he is and who his dad is. And got to remember, this kid literally almost died last summer with his heart issue, and he's in a tough spot.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mike. And anytime your parent, right, whether it be male or female, is a professional athlete, it must be a huge set of shoes to fill. What do you want to say about the Mets Yankees? Which team are you rooting for, Mike? You're a Met fan or a Yankee fan?
Well, I'm a New York fan. I'll say that.
Oh, I like New York fans.
All do well. My butt hurts from sitting on the fence, but quite honestly, to be perfectly clear to everyone, I really haven't been paying attention too much to the local boys of late. I've been focusing my attention on the NBA and the NHL playoffs. But now that they're gone, I'm kind of switching focus here, and I've heard all the talk about the Mets for the last month, how they're tanking and going downhill, and suddenly, wow, now they're at 500. I guess they had that players meeting back a few weeks ago, and suddenly the light bulb went on, and now they're looking like they're contenders again. And it's interesting that they were 11 games out at one point. The Astros were, I think, 12 games out at one point. Here we are. Both these teams are surging, and
Astros are playing some great baseball too. I think they won 8 of the last 9 right now. And the Mets, to win 15 out of 19 games when only 3 weeks ago they were talking about, the big conversation around Major League Baseball. The big conversation was, what are we going to do at the trade deadline? And it's amazing that in 3 weeks that has all changed. Mike, thank you for calling, and thank you for being a loyal listener. And we're glad to have a New York fan, whether it be a Yankee or a Met fan. Thank you for the call, Mike.
My pleasure. Always great listening to you and talking to you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Mike. All righty. So to get back to the show, let's talk about this. When we talk about the NBA draft and you're talking about what the Knicks have done over the last 3 days, do you think every move they've made makes them an NBA championship contender? We were very close last year, but with the trades and with the acquisitions that they made, do you think that puts them in Vegas? Let's talk about the Vegas odds. In Vegas, do you think that puts them at the forefront to get to a championship?
Well, you look at the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics just won, and they had an absolute tear at the playoffs, beating whoever they came across. Granted, some could argue...
Destroyed them. Whoever they played, they destroyed.
Yeah, and one could argue that, some of the teams they were against, they were battered a little bit, they were more injured. Even then, they still took advantage of every single team they went up against. And don't forget, they had 14 games above the Knicks. They were the number 1 team. The Knicks were the number 2 team. They were by far the best team. And I still think the Celtics are the best team in the Eastern Conference. However, as for number 2 and maybe 3, the Bucks are slimming a little bit. Pacers are a little getting up. Cavaliers are not too sure about. Magic, they're nice and young. Potentially, the Knicks could end up at number 2 again, and if they face against each other, potentially in the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals potentially, there is a chance the Knicks could go ahead, but I'm not sure just yet. I still think the Celtics right now are just the better team at the moment still.
There you go. And it looks like we have Glenn calling in from Flushing, so let's take our call from Glenn and see what he has to say today.
Hey, good morning, boys. It's unbelievable how the baseball season just goes with the ebbs and flows. I mean, a few weeks ago, we're talking about that the Mets have made the parking $20 on weekdays. It was going to be a long summer, and here we are. I mean, the key guys here have been Vientos. He has just been unbelievable.
On fire.
9 home runs. I mean, this guy, I feel bad for Brett Beatty because we liked him. We got his autograph, my son. He's tearing it up in AAA, by the way. But Alvarez, I mean, if you look at the Mets record with him back behind the dish, I mean, this guy could be our future Johnny Bench. I mean, he's not even going to be 23 till November.
Yeah.
I am one excited Met fan. We have Senga coming back soon. I thought it was going to be a long summer. I think we all did. Steve Cohen, though, to his credit, he did say a few weeks ago, hey, I think we got a chance. I think we're going to get hot.
Yeah, he did say that. And as a matter of fact, I was just reading yesterday, they said if you could attribute, they were asking some of the players on the team, and they said if you could attribute our success or the team's success, right? I can't say our because I'm a Yankee, Glenn, sorry.
No problem.
Yes. You won't hold it against me, right? So,
No. I'm going to go on Ticket Bash this weekend to get Met tickets for Saturday.
There you go. Thank you for that, Glenn. So they did say, and I'm sure a lot could be, there's a lot of fact in this statement. They said that we started bonding. When you get on a plane and you fly to Europe, right, and you're in a different country, that was a bonding experience for the team. And the team said that when they went to Europe, when they went there to play, that was the turning point. And listen, we could also throw the Grimace in there maybe a little bit, but the players aren't giving credit to the Grimace. The players are saying that when we traveled, we went overseas and we had a tremendous bonding experience from the traveling to being in a different country. And they said that they feel, a couple of the players were saying that they feel that was one of the key points or the key turning points for the team this year.
Very interesting point. Yeah, I had heard it, but I kind of didn't focus on it like you did. And I think, why not? I mean, you got to whip out the passports. It's a once-in-a-lifetime situation. And they did win that second game against the Phillies, if I remember, right? So I thought that was a big win at the time. That Sunday before they came back to the U.S. So that could have done it. Hey,
Yes.
Can I give you guys a quick question?
Sure.
Since I wanted to know, both of you, I'll make it real quick, both of your favorite arenas or stadiums and one that is on your wish list, each of you.
Wow. Okay, we have about a minute to spare. I'm going to say I want to go to Lambeau Field. That's my wish list. Haven't been there. My favorite stadium? That's a really good question. You know what? Wiz is going to love me for this. The Falcons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Mercedes.
It's spectacular. Your favorite stadium, and then we only have a minute left to go, so let's go, Wiz.
Well, I'm going to go baseball here. PNC Park, absolutely spectacular view. Not a single bad seat in the house where I sat. There was all the bridges right there. And as for the one I really want to go to, oh my God, I want to go to Oracle Park in San Francisco. It's absolutely beautiful over there.
Hey, Glenn, thank you for calling in. We appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Thank you for the call-in. We do have a couple of quick announcements to make tomorrow on the show. We will be giving away 4 tickets for Walker Hayes at Bald Hill, and that'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Remember, our show is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Falcone Law Firm, the Marty Lyons Foundation. You can get the podcast wherever you watch your favorite podcast, daily streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and for our entire crew, Sebastiano, Nikki Raj, Zach, Vin, and Peter, we missed you today. For our entire crew, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll